Now that is what you call a Formula One race. That is a proper Grand Prix. None of that nonsense from last time. That was pure racing. Lots to talk about for the race review for the 2019 Austrian Grand Prix. Of course, you know it. You know the drill by now. Spoilers ahead. You have been warned. Also, just one final note before we get stuck into this one. It's going to be a long one, but it's going to be a juicy one. This should be the last race in the echoey setup. In the trashy setup, thank you for sticking with me over the last couple of weeks. I know it's been a little bit messy, but we've made it through. This should be the final one, but lots to talk about today. An awesome qualifying yesterday was greeted today with a penalty from Lewis Hamilton. Today we got the youngest ever front row. Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc on the front row. Leclerc with pole position. However, the race did not go the way of the Ferrari man. Verstappen, after a dreadful lap one, a dreadful start, ended up picking up the first win of the season for him. But, I mean, you're going to see this throughout the review today. Such an anti-2019 race. I mean, no Hamilton on the podium. A Red Bull win. I mean, Ferrari almost got the strategy right. That doesn't usually happen. Grosjean wasn't moaning. That doesn't usually happen. Hamilton was moaning, but it was all right to moan because he did actually change his front wing. It was so bizarre, but to top it off, Honda have won a race. I know. Fernando Alonso today. He's going to be fuming with McLaren having an awesome race as well. Incredible scenes in Austria. A beautiful race in memory of Niki Lauda. And the result, the full result you can see on screen now. But Verstappen, I mean, I don't think I'm forgetting many races here. I know I'm thinking Brazil 2016, Brazil last year. Some cracking races from Verstappen in his career. But that one, after being in P8 at the end of the first lap, may have been P7 but dropped back to P8 after a dreadful, anti-stalled on the grid. We were questioning, will he be fighting for the lead into turn one? Well, he was actually fighting to stay in the top 10. You know, so to come back from that and to win the race comfortably, okay, there might be a penalty inbound. And yeah, we're going to talk about that in a moment. But still, the race he drove today was incredible. Really, that race will be remembered. And Charles Leclerc as well, another one who dominated the race. And yet, just with 2 laps to go, that overtake, that broke so many hearts. But even the biggest of Leclerc fans, I think, will respect the drive from Verstappen today and will respect that actually, even if the penalty, we do get a penalty now, I don't think anyone's a winner in that situation, because does Leclerc want his first ever Formula One win to come through a controversial penalty? I don't know. Bottas P3, I mean, Mercedes weren't really anywhere today. He did an okay job, but I think, again, anti-2019, no Vettel or Hamilton even anywhere near the podium this weekend. It feels like a changing of the guard in Formula One this weekend. It was nice to see, and for a season where Mercedes have won every single race, to not see them even in the top 2 was a beautiful refresher. And to see 3 different cars again in the top 3, another reminder that perhaps Formula One isn't in as dreadful a state as we perhaps thought a week ago. Don't get me wrong, it's not perfect by any means. And to be honest with you, we'll talk about it now. The penalty, if it does go through, I think will be one of the most I think perhaps could be more controversial than the Vettel one. I really do believe that. Let's look at the facts then. 3 laps to go. Verstappen closing on Charles Leclerc. Verstappen, went longer on his tyres, ended up at the end of the race having fresher tyres than any of the other drivers around him. Got past Vettel, who'd managed to undercut him in the stops, got past Bottas, hunting down Leclerc first attempt, gets past Leclerc. Leclerc then managed to stick it in for turn 4 and just hold on and keep the lead. You're thinking, oh my God, everyone's hearts were going at this point. Everyone is screaming. Can't quite believe what's going on. Verstappen goes for it again into turn 3. This time, leaves it a little bit late to turn in, forces Leclerc to go out super wide, ends up leaving Leclerc no room, a little bit of wheel bashing Leclerc off the circuit, Verstappen through and never looks back. Under investigation. Here's my take. And of course, yeah, we're all going to disagree. There's going to be some people that think this is a slam dunk penalty. Some people think that no. And some people in the middle. And if you look at the letter of the law, if you definitely look at the precedent set in 2016 with Hamilton and Rosberg, and you look at what happened with Vettel earlier on in the year, you would think it's a penalty. However, I don't think it is. I think, although I thought, oh, that's a little bit on the edge from Verstappen, a little bit naughty, a little bit, hurt the racer in me, in the sense that I was thinking, I'd love to see these guys fight every single lap and hope that we could get a clean pass. However, a penalty is just too far. Even if you just forget the idea that Verstappen was so much quicker, it was hard racing. And if we're going to penalise that, then, my God, Formula 1 is going to become boring. It really is. I mean, that's just my opinion. And of course, I want to know yours in the comments below. But it'd be criminal to penalise someone just for racing. And it's not like in 2016 where Rosberg hit Hamilton very hard in the fact that they both had damage. There was no damage caused in this situation. So I feel, leave it as it is, to be honest with you. Max drove a brilliant race, which again, that kind of thing shouldn't be put into consideration when you're judging a penalty. It should just be the incident. And again, I think Verstappen was a little bit naughty, but that's allowed. That's racing. That's hard racing. So if there is a penalty, going into Silverstone, there won't be many happy faces in Formula 1. There's other drivers we can talk about. Let's not just talk about the top two. However, those two were the main parts of the entertainment. Vettel, actually, I think had quite a good race for Sebastian Vettel. Again, not on the podium. His bad luck sort of continues at the moment. Had a brilliant start. Managed to do the undercut on Verstappen. Was looking like he could sneak a podium. But when Verstappen got past, he went onto the soft tyres in a sort of attempt to try and get the fastest lap. The graphic on screen says Hamilton got fastest lap, but that's incorrect. Verstappen ended up doing it. But he came in on the soft tyres behind Hamilton, past Hamilton with a few laps to go. Quite a quiet day for Vettel, and to be honest with you, it's the kind of race you would have expected, starting from 9th, but to beat Hamilton, solid job. Hamilton himself, clearly his worst race of the season. His 100% podium finishing streak comes to an end this season. P5, had to do a front wing change. At the start, got overtaken by Lando Norris. Norris, who ended up P6, had an awesome race in my opinion. Another brilliant race going into his home Grand Prix next time out. Fighting with Hamilton. I bet that was so surreal for him. I really do. Got the better of Hamilton through turn 1. Had a bit of a ding-dong battle through turn 2. Tried to get him into turn 3 but lost out and Raikkonen overtook him at the time. But Norris, another really strong race and a bit of a redemption after last time in France having that hydraulic issue, but best of the rest from Norris. Actually, even better than that, beating Gasly, who I got a bit told off yesterday for having a go at Gasly again. And to be honest with you, I'm not the biggest Gasly hater. I'm the one who keeps saying that perhaps he should keep his seat for the rest of the season. And I'm still not dead against that. However, it doesn't help his case when he finishes a lap down at a circuit where arguably Red Bull had the best race pace of any car out there. Again, Red Bull got their strategy, I think, spot on with Verstappen, but Gasly behind Norris, that shouldn't be happening. And to finish a lap down to your teammate, especially when he had no issues, that's not good enough, in my opinion. Sainz as well, just behind Gasly, and Sainz started last. So another brilliant race from the two McLarens. Again, though, that does highlight issues with Gasly and Sainz, just like Norris. Maybe that car is just that good. It really is now turning into McLaren being the clear best of the rest car, which I don't think many people would have expected that, especially at the end of last season, but even in the first couple of races of this season. So brilliant job from them. And the final points go to Raikkonen. Another strong race from him, but Giovinazzi gets his first ever Formula 1 points. Clean weekend from him, kept the pace with Raikkonen. No mistakes, Q3 for 2 races in a row. No complaints whatsoever. And outside the top 10, to be honest with you, not really, well, I don't want to say many stories, but not much emphasis on outside the top 10. I mean, I did have my complaints about the TV production team once again in this race. A few times, commentary issues in terms of, talking about, it was Gasly passing Ricciardo at the time when Norris was told to keep, Ricciardo in the DRS zone. Gasly overtook Ricciardo, but the TV producers and the commentary team didn't seem to notice that for quite some time, but continued to talk about it. So that got on my nerves a little bit, but that those things happen, occasionally. But still, I couldn't really tell you a lot about Perez ending up P11. That's an okay job in the racing point. And the 2 Renaults, Ricciardo tried to do a strategy like Sainz, but couldn't quite make it work. Hulkenberg, didn't see a lot of him. Stroll didn't see a lot of him. We saw a bit of a ding-dong battle early on between the 2 Toro Rossos, the 2 Haas cars, and George Russell. George Russell, super racy early on. And once again, George Russell beats Kevin Magnussen. Second time that's happened this season. Although Magnussen himself, arguably the worst race of anybody. Out of grid position at the start. Couldn't keep pace in the race, dropped back super quickly through the pack, and Grosjean did as well. That Haas just has 0 race pace, absolutely 0. Did a second stop. Russell also did a second stop, I believe, late on, but yeah, a day to forget for both the Haas boys. But Russell himself, he can be proud of that one. That's the second time beating a Haas car. Not bad at all. Driver of the day, I don't think anyone's too surprised. That's a new one. Surprised. I've gone with Max Verstappen. Not a commanding victory. And again, it might not even be a victory at the end of the day if the FIA decide to ruin Formula 1 and give him a penalty. But, even if he does get a penalty, I think that was absolute brilliance today from Max Verstappen. I've also put Sainz and Norris on there. But Leclerc as well, I don't think there's much he could have done, to be honest with you. His defence against Verstappen, especially that first time round, was awesome. It really was. And to be honest, I think perhaps if Ferrari had, I think at the end of the day, it comes down to the fact that he started on the soft tyres. He wasn't able to go deeper into the race. Verstappen had the fresh rubber, and that's what won him the race. So it's little things in Formula 1 sometimes, but that is why we love it. And my race rating, I've gone with a 9 out of 10. Again, I sometimes say this, that sometimes after the race, you can get caught up on the hype, but I absolutely love that. And if you're new around here, which quite a few of you are these days, one of my biggest things in race rating is tension. And my heart was pounding the entire race, right until those last couple of laps, screaming throughout the entire thing, and that's exactly what I want, even though some of my favourite drivers weren't doing particularly great. To be honest with you, the fight at the front is exactly what we want. And it was nice as well to see different drivers in the limelight. Verstappen, Leclerc, Norris. It was great to see. And even Kimi Raikkonen was giving it a real good go today as well. So it was just nice that a little bit of a change in the air today. And I wonder how that's going to affect the season going forward. I wonder how that's going to affect drivers like Hamilton and the Mercedes going into the British Grand Prix. I mean, you can look at the standings now. I don't think they're too worried just yet. I mean, it's crazy, to be honest with you, looking at those statistics. 71 points Hamilton is ahead of Verstappen. So, don't get me wrong, I think Hamilton's still very much getting a 6th world title this season. Bottas, gaining a few 5 points over Hamilton this weekend, but yeah, not enough. You expect Hamilton to be right on the money going into Silverstone, but saying that, the Ferrari, I think it's going to be close between Mercedes and Ferrari. I think Ferrari, the upgrades they brought to France, the upgrades they brought this weekend, again, it could just be that track specific, Mercedes in the high temperatures of this circuit, it wasn't quite working for them. But I think this is going to be, especially, for me, for sure, but I think for a lot of you guys, even more so, give you a little bit more optimism for the rest of the season. Now we have seen Mercedes are not going to win every single race. Beautiful stuff. Although, I want to leave you with this. Raikkonen is still the most recent Ferrari winner. That statistic is going nowhere, and I absolutely love it. I want to know your thoughts on the 2019 Austrian Grand Prix. The penalty, of course, is going to be a huge talking point. Don't know if I'm going to do a winners and losers video over the next week or so. Again, depends how this setup goes and how quickly we can get it sorted. Also, weekly mailbox, expect that to be back, I imagine, next week. But again, can't make any promises. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know your thoughts of the entire race in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next one.